Have you seen the Dems should run pro-life candidates discourse? Yeah, from Ezra Klein. Ezra Klein would kill you and your entire family if it would lead to a Republican patting him on the head and telling him he's a good boy. Like, he would do it without a doubt in the world. As I said with abundance, all of these liberal think pieces, they exist for exactly one reason: to marginalize the left. Every concession can be made as long as it marginalizes the left within the Democratic tent. Ezra Klein is essentially arguing that the more worried you are about authoritarianism, the more you should be willing to run pro-life Democrats in red states, ignoring the fact that even in the red states that he's advocating people run pro-life Democrats in, pro-choice won the majority vote in the votes in those states. Like, you're like, this is essentially saying, like, our only chance is to take the losing side of an issue and muddle the waters for people who think of Democrats as unambiguously pro-choice. We should weaken the broader coalition, and we should pitch candidates who are unpopular. Who the would vote Republican in Oklahoma, but would then choose to vote Democrat because the Democrat there is pro-life? Nobody. It's a fake person. And Ezra Klein doesn't actually believe this, much the same way that Ezra Klein did not actually believe that Charlie Kirk was doing politics the right way. Ezra Klein, like the Abundance guys, like all of these liberal Substack writers who got their heydays back in the Obama administration, exist for exactly one reason, and it is to try to provide intellectual justifications for why it is necessary to time and time again marginalize the left within the Democratic coalition and push people further to the right. Like, there used to be a bunch of pro-life Democrats. They lost. Remember? Back in the early days of the Obama administration, back when the Democrats had way more of a hold on the House, there were pro-life Democrats. They lost to Republicans because it turns out if a person is making political decisions, voting decisions off of their belief that people should be anti-abortion, they will vote Republican. There were anti-gay marriage Democrats too. Yeah, and what happened to them? Again, if people are reactionary, they will vote for Republicans. If people are progressive, they will vote for Democrats. The only thing that you can do, you do not improve your positioning within that dynamic by becoming more reactionary, therefore losing support of your pre-existing base. You improve that dynamic by making progressivism more popular. This is what we did with pro-choice. This is what we did with gay marriage. We didn't capitulate on whether or not you were for or against it. You were for it, and those positions became more popular. Support for gay marriage went from, like, Jesus, I don't know, what was it, like 30% back in 2000? Nowadays, it's all the way up to just below 70%. And that's with the current crop of fascism in this country. That's after the post-2020 hyper-Hitler, Fourth Reich resurgence. Can you imagine Ezra Klein writing that out? The only way for us to regain the coalition, spread the tent further, is to move to the right on gay marriage. Why? There are tons of Republicans who are pro-gay marriage. They're stupid. Like, it's inconsistent, but they are. It's been normalized to the point where it's not actually that. Like, Jesus, we are in such a comfortable position when it comes to gay marriage that in spite of how bad things are right now, I don't think many people take it, like, seriously. The idea that gay marriage might be taken away. I certainly don't. They're going after trans people, yeah. And I know that they've signaled they want to target Obergefell, but it's not that, like, critical of an issue. I don't think gay people are at risk, at least in the immediate future, of being meaningfully targeted by the administration. Usually they just get hit as part of, like, an adjacency to trans people. Gay marriage is a pretty secure position. It's pretty broadly popular. Apparently, even Dem consultants have been getting annoyed with him because he's pitching abundance to them while courting Republicans on the side. You never, ever trust these Substack Democrats, okay? Again, their career exists only to keep people like you from listening to people like me. And I mean that. It sounds self-centered, but I genuinely mean that. I think that if Ezra Klein was sat down and his eyes were pried open, Clockwork Orange style, and he was forced to watch me talk about politics, he would be forced to agree on almost everything that I say. He wouldn't agree on, like, the communism bits or whatever, but that's fine. For the most part, it's just anti-fascist stuff coming out of this channel right now, isn't it? We're pretty far from communism, aren't we? I think he'd be forced to agree on almost everything, but I think that prescriptively, even if we agreed on everything descriptively, he would come out the other side and be forced to provide some mealy-mouthed, this fake pretense of an argument for why, in actuality, the real thing we need to do is capitulate to the right. And I think that is because that is his job. If he wisened up and started saying stuff that was correct, he would be out of a job. Why? Because he would become indistinguishable. For one, he'd have to admit he was wrong. He'd have to admit he was wrong about Bernie. Every time. He would have to admit he was wrong about the influence progressives have had on the Democratic Party, the arguments they've made about the Democratic Party self-sabotaging. These arguments have been around for decades, but they've been loudest the past decade, and he's been on the wrong side of these arguments time and time again. He would have to admit his entire career that he has been wrong, and he would then no longer have a niche. He would become just another guy who thinks that the Democratic Party is dangerously weak and has capitulated too far to the right and needs to finally stop listening to consultants and donors only and start listening to their party. Republicans are willing to ignore their donors in favor of the party. Do you think it was Republican donors who pushed Trump to start demanding financial capitulation from TV networks? Do you think like his billionaire funders were like, yeah, you know, it'd be great, you nationalizing 10% of Intel? No, Trump just did that because he has the strength and political will to do that. And the donors follow along because they want to stay a part of that coalition. If you have will, if you have strength, if you have inertia, you can make gains and force the donors to keep up with you. But the Democrats are cowards and they're unwilling to do this. And Ezra Klein is unwilling to do this because it would lose him his Substack support. But he knows the waters are rising. Even in that god-awful New York Times op-ed, Charlie Kirk was doing politics the right way, in which he lied constantly to defend Hitler. The comments were all roasting him. And these comments were by and large New York Times subscribing Ezra Klein fans. These were not like hyper lefty Twitter users, okay? These were people who comment under New York Times articles. If his bit is getting old enough that this is the reception it's getting, he knows the waters are rising. And he's going to do one of two things within the next couple of years. Well, maybe he fades away to irrelevance doing what he's doing now. But I think it's more likely he does one of two things moving forward. He either grifts to the right, which he's already been doing, by the way. Saying Charlie Kirk did politics the right way is grifting to the right. He's already grifting to the right, okay? So he either does that, or he weasels his way into the left position. Oh, he's not agreeing with them on everything. No, he still disagrees with some of their excesses and the Bernie bros, and he's not a socialist, dear God, heaven forbid. But oh, hasn't Ezra Klein always advocated for better behavior from the Democrats? Hasn't he always been on the cutting edge of advocating the Democrats take better note of these issues? And he'll pretend it was a position he had all along. And he'll tut-tut everyone who thought he ever believed anything different. I hate Ezra Klein. I hate him far more than I do people like, I don't know, Iglesias. I hate him far, because Iglesias at least is like obvious in his belligerent, ignorant, oppositional grift, okay? Ezra is smart enough to be better about it. And he's probably convinced quite a few Democrats to like engage in behavior that continues to cripple them and the country. He's like a representative of everything wrong with the party. Ezra Klein literally supported the Iraq War and didn't apologize till 2013. Yeah, of course. Obviously. Because when the Iraq War started, it was a majority Democrat-supported position. At least the kinds of Democrats he hung around with. So he supported it. And he was only willing to disavow it after so much time had passed that it was no longer considered offensive to those groups. His, corporate lobbyist friends. I imagine he has like defense industry friends. So there's no way a person has been doing this job for this long without having met some people in that industry and, hearing their perspectives. Even Obama was against it in 2008. Yeah, but like, keep in mind, Obama ran to the left of Hillary Clinton in 2008. I wonder who Ezra Klein supported. Let's check. I actually don't know if he supported Hillary Clinton back in 2008. I don't see anything there. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get plenty of articles from him when we inevitably get like the Kamala Harris Pete Buttigieg ticket in 2028.